Ladies and gentlemen, hello. New video. I have some great news and some bad news. There's been some tier shifts. There's been some new council decisions for the Generation 3 format. We have Charizard receiving a promotion. Charizard is now an OU Pokemon. It has been solidly around for several years now, first seeing play on mixed offense, now getting more usage in Spike's teams. I've been using Charizard myself recently. For some reason, I felt this coming. In fact, I was going to make a video ranking all the BL Pokemon, and I was looking at Charizard, and I was like, isn't this guy way better than all these BL Pokemon? Shouldn't he be OU? I've been thinking about Charizard being OU, and they did it. They moved him to OU. Obviously competing with Moltres, who is also OU recently. But with some unique qualities, such as a higher speed stat, and access to Focus Punch for mixed damage against Blissey, and also access to Dragon Claw to hit Salamence. Although, you know, that's not crazy coverage or anything, but it's something. Plus neutral damage. Charizard's good. Moltres also good. They're kind of competing for the same role, but they do different things. Charizard, I would say, is more offensive. Moltres more still offensive, but more defensive as well. Can come in better against Metagross. Can Will-O-Wisp, Snorlax. Can Roar to beat people behind subs, whatever. You know? So Charizard's OU, ladies and gentlemen. Charizard's loving life. Charizard feels great. Unfortunately, Porygon2, one of my favorite Pokemon in the format, one of the nicest Pokemon designs. With the classic ability Trace, the ability to counter-trap Dugtrio by tracing Arena Trap. A great niche, unfortunately. However, dropping in usage and in win rate has fallen to borderline, fallen to BL, demoted. And Porygon2 is not happy right now. Porygon2 is pissed. This is a meme from the Discord by Celtic Ryan that I thought was quite funny. Porygon2 getting laid off. After all its years of hard work, trapping Dugtrio, you know. Now, this is not to say Porygon2 is bad, because I think Porygon2 actually is good. There's no Pokemon that does what Porygon2 does with its ability to trap Dug, and it's also a great check to Salamence. It's a great check to, you know, it's a good mixed wall. You can come in on like Blissey and be okay. Sometimes it's hard for teams to come in against Blissey because they threaten status. But you can trace Natural Cure and be a status soaker and be a little mini Blissey yourself. Same with Celebi. If they're not Calm Mind, you can kind of safely come in and do stuff to Celebi. Toxic them maybe and force them out. You're a decent mixed wall in general against, like, you go in HP Grass and hit Swampert or something. Sometimes it's hard to switch in against Swampert. Porygon2 can come in. I think he's good. I think, like, the combo of being a good wall, a good Salamence check, and status soaker sometimes against Blissey are good qualities, and he's got a good move pool. Like, you can run T-Bolt. He's one of the few, like, really good Gyarados checks that isn't, like, Gengar or Zapdos. So that's good. And supports Pokemon that are bad against Dug, like, I don't know, Jirachi, Tyranitar sometimes are like the big top tier ones. And then you got like Pokemon that get destroyed by Dug, like Raikou can now be alright with Porygon2. I like Camerupt paired with Porygon2 because Camerupt gets one hit by Dug. Some people do Blaziken. You can do some cool team structures with Pori 2. But it is a bit hard to fit, and it's kind of a specific archetype. It fills the gaps of being like the team's men's check and the Dug Trapper. Plus, sometimes you just get beat by Dug, like if they're adamant Dug. Your strat of recover spamming to bait their PP can sometimes not work if they crit. Usually you can beat Dug though. Like, vast majority of the time, but sometimes you get effed. But I mean, that's true of like Dug vs Bliss as well. I mean, that can happen. I don't know exactly the odds of all those situations. But interesting tier shifts. I am interested if any other BL Pokemon are going to rise and any other OU Pokemon are going to drop. I believe Regice dropped. People were talking about Cloyster dropping, and I don't agree with that. I think Cloyster's good. I think Cloyster's really good. There's no other spiker that can, you know, come in on bulky waters, and that's a good quality. Plus, it doesn't get trapped by mag. I mean, like, I guess Scum can come in on bulky waters, but it's taken a lot. Clay having water resist is really good. ×4 water resist. No, it's not ×4. Sorry. ×4 ice resist. Regular water resist. Anyway, some candidates for BL Pokemon rising up would be like, the obvious one is like Hariyama, although a lot of people disagree. A lot of people reckon Hariyama is overrated. Hariyama was like popular like a year ago or something. There was a rise in fighting types being used, but now people are saying it was all a bit of a hype train or something. Hariyama is not that good. I think I disagree. I think Hariyama is, you know, probably the best knockoff user in the format. It's a really good check to Tyranitar if you got some bulk. And it's a really good offensive threat. I think Guts is really good. You don't need to run Thick Fat on a stall lead set. That set can kind of get beat by just forcing it to rest. Like the rest set with Whirlwind and Knockoff. Kind of doesn't do enough. It checks Tar, spams Knockoff, but it's hard to get it in versus a lot of stuff except for like Tar. So it's kind of hard for it to do stuff in my experience, but can be decent if you run Heal Bell. But I would say like the combo of Knockoff, Focus Punch with Fighting Stab and Guts, you know, you're like a physical threat that doesn't care about burn. You can threaten Gengar, and you can like come in and then they have to guess right or they're effed, kind of like a little Heracross, but with a better typing that checks Tyranitar, because Heracross is neutral to rock, so not really good against Tyranitar. But I think Yama could be OU. Maybe it's like just the top of BL, not quite OU, because it's not really like so splashable that it's like a go-to Pokemon. But I would say it's similar in viability to like Flygon right now, because Flygon is kind of like an alternative check to Tyranitar that isn't as common or as reliable as Swampert, but it's good because it's got unique qualities like Levitate, and Dragon Ground typing, which isn't beat by Grass, which is where everyone's running Grass to hit Swampert. And it can threaten like Celebi with HP Bug, a higher attack stat. It's got access to Fire Blast. So it's I don't know who's more commonly used, like Flygon or Hariyama, probably Flygon, but they're similar in viability, I think. But I think it's really cool that the meta's changed so much. Like even Moltres rising to OU was interesting to see. Breloom and now Charizard are all OU now. Like that's so cool that this format's been out for so long. It's like one of the oldest that people have been playing competitively. And I'm gonna change the song, sorry. And you know, you're still seeing crazy meta shifts like this, like Charizard rising up. And I think Charizard's like one of the best offensive threats in the format right now, in my opinion. Like, and maybe we'll see like more melodic or something to adapt to it, I don't know, but it's got really good coverage. It's really good speed that is really nice against, you know, Salamanders that are slower, Gengars that are slower. It's cool to see things like fill the gaps of meta adaptations, like, you know, Gengar becomes slower to live pursuit and run more bulk, and then like, oh, now Charizard can outspeed it and be threatening against it. And I think now, you know, you're seeing faster Gengars be more used. I don't know. Maybe I'm talking nonsense. I don't know how true this stuff is, but like, these things change. Like the speed benchmarks people go for in certain Pokemon change all the time. The viability and usage of Pokemon, like, you know, like what I just said about Hariyama, who was being used a lot last year or whatever. I'm kind of rambling, but, you know, this is cool stuff. And I'm sorry, Porygon2, but I do agree with the decision to bring him down because he's a bit more niche. He's like I don't know, Donphan or something, where you need support. He fits on a specific archetype with a specific combination of Pokemon to make him work. So, like, I've used Donphan, and Donphan could be good, but... And Donphan's really good as a tar check and immense check, but he gets really destroyed by, like, Skarmory and Gengar. So you need Pursue Tyranitar and Mag. So it's hard to put, like, Donphan can't be OU ever because you need so many Pokemon to support him, right? But Charizard works on his own. Like, Charizard's just good by himself inherently, so you don't need a specific archetype to run Zard, really. He is an offensive Pokemon, like, he's right now fitting on, you know, mixed offense, which I think is kind of a bad archetype, but you can use him, and then he's just good on a Spikes team, because anything with coverage that threatens a bunch of stuff is just good on Spikes, because you're forcing switches. So, and Spikes is like, it's, you can even call Spikes an archetype. Like, Spikes is just a good move that everyone uses. So there's heaps of different ways and paces to run a Spikes plan. So Charizard can just fit on that in a lot of different situations. So I think Charizard being OU makes perfect sense, and Porygon being BL also makes sense. Feel free to share your thoughts in the comments, guys. And what is some BL Pokemon you think might rise up, and what are some OU Pokemon you think might drop down? Thanks for watching. Someone's knocking on my door. I have to go. Goodbye.